Welcome, classes. We're going to go over some ionic bonding and how we would draw those bonds. So we're going to go through 4 examples. That way you guys can see a couple different ways that the compounds could be created. So the first thing that I want to kind of walk you through is, when we have an element, and we did this before, when we have the element like Mg valence electron wise has 2. So it would have like 1 die here and 1 die here. In order for it to become an ion, it wants to get rid of all of its valence electrons. So what it would do is it would transfer those electrons away. It'll do anything. It'll beg, lie, steal, and cheat in order to get those 2 electrons away. On the other end, you have something like chlorine, who has 7 valence electrons. And all it wants in life is 1 more valence electron to have that 8. So it will beg, lie, and steal, and cheat in order to get that 1 more valence electron to become 8. Since this one adds, or you could say that it gains, it is an anion. Since magnesium would lose, or give, it becomes a cation, making it positive, and an anion negative. So that's the basics that we need to have in order to do our drawings. So the first example that we're going to go through has both magnesium and chlorine in it, and it is MgCl2. So the first steps would be drawing your Lewis dot structure for each of the elements. And you'll see that I did a mirror image on the chlorine. That's why that it has 1 on the right-hand side. Now, we start out with this. Then we need to show where the electrons go. So we're going to show with arrows how they get transferred or given away. So that's step 1 of your drawing. You're almost completed when you're there. Now you have to show them as their cations and anions. So magnesium has 2 arrows pointing away from it. Therefore, it now has a +2 charge. The anions we're going to put in brackets because we need to show all 8 valence electrons around them. This gives it a -1 charge or just a negative charge. So we got to do that on the other side. And right there, you have drawn your first ionic compound. So what if it doesn't have 1 giving to 2? What happens if it's 1 element giving to another element? Well, let's take a look. Calcium has 2 valence electrons. Oxygen has 6. And what happens is oxygen still wants to get 8. So it's actually willing to accept the 2 electrons that calcium is going to transfer to it. We still want to draw them as their cation and anion. Except for this time, again, calcium's a +2 charge. We'll put oxygen in brackets since it's an anion. And then we'll have a -2 charge. So that's calcium oxide. So the next one that we want to do is aluminum. And with aluminum, it's one of our more particular metals because it's really one of the first metals that has 3 valence electrons. Okay. And then we're going to bond it to 3 fluorines. So each fluorine is going to have 7. So it's going to transfer those 3 away. By transferring those 3 away, it gains a +3 charge. And then we have to put the fluorines in brackets with a -1. And there are 3 of them. That gives us aluminum fluoride. And we're going to do one last one, and that last one is NaCl. Most of you know this as good old table salt. Sodium has 1 electron when it is neutral. Chlorine has 7 electrons when it's neutral. When sodium transfers its 1 to the chlorine, sodium therefore becomes a +1 cation, and then chlorine becomes a -1 anion because it accepted 1 more. All right, go ahead and take what we've shown you here and apply it to the worksheet. Don't forget to make sure that you upload a PDF of that worksheet with your badge in the upper left-hand corner. That way we know it is yours. Happy drawing.